Hey viewers, welcome to my orchid world. Today I am going to show you four very beautiful Dendrobium species orchids. One of them is a hybrid, though you can call it as a primary hybrid. These are the Dendrobium Anosmum, the Dendrobium parishii, the Dendrobium Nestor, and the Dendrobium Nestor 6 eyes. These nestors are hybrids. The Anosmum and parishii are species Dendrobium orchids. I have been wanting to have these orchids for a very long time. They are very beautiful orchids, very fragrant. They will just fill the air around them with their fragrance. So in this video today I'll talk about a very brief general care of these four orchids. They take the same care, almost similar. They need a very important winter rest, which I will talk about. The blooms look very beautiful, very typical of species Dendrobium orchids. They look similar to the Dendrobium aphyllum, and also the care is also almost the same. Basically all the species Dendrobium orchids take the same care. These orchids are all of the same category and so take the same care. The blooms are the most attractive part of all these four dendrobiums. The petals are fuzzy at the edges. The lip has dark magenta patches inside on either sides. This is very spectacular and it contrasts the pink color of the petals. All the four of them look very similar, and it is also similar to the Dendrobium aphyllum. If you have seen it in my previous video, haven't, please have a look. Buds may look like Keikis initially and can confuse you. You cannot distinguishedly say whether the part that is forming is a Keiki or a bud, but you can clearly know from the fact that buds form towards the tip of the cane and Keikis which generally form from the base of the orchid. Buds will generally form in continuous nodes starting from the tip of the cane towards the end. Keikis and buds form at the same time in these Dendrobium orchids. These are species Dendrobium orchids, and they start producing Keikis towards the end of winter, say towards end of February at my place. So both buds and Keikis will develop simultaneously. During the buds growth and also the Keikis growth, it is essential that you water them very nicely, very profusely every day. So now this is a question that depends on your resources available. Naturally, all these four Dendrobium orchids, as you can see, are pendulous in nature. That is, they grow downwards. They hang from the towards the gravity, towards the earth. So it is best in practice to mount them on something, or either a tree or any piece of wood or a piece of styrofoam or a piece of big size bark. So what happens is that when you mount them, these canes will naturally take the pendulous form, and also the buds look very nice when they grow in these pendulous canes. And hence, if you do not have a tree at your disposal, take a piece of wood, any piece of wood, any broken piece of furniture, and you can mount these orchids on that piece of wood. You can take a piece of styrofoam, and also you can use it for mounting your pendulous orchids. This look very nice when they grow pendulously, and also if you mount them then they get the strength to grow more and more keikis, which will eventually result in more number of blooms with a nice show. The most important thing for these species Dendrobium orchids to bloom in late winter is a winter rest, proper winter rest without any water, any fertilizer. Though I do not use any fertilizer for species orchids, even if some of you would want to use a fertilizer, stop using it towards late November when winter just starts. So stop watering, stop fertilizing, everything should be stopped, because these Dendrobium orchids just go into a hibernation during this winter period, so that which helps them to initiate blooms in late winter when winter is receding. So winter rest is very important for this Dendrobium species orchids, and you have to keep it in mind. The general care for all these 4 Dendrobium species orchids are almost similar. I should say they are similar. They all grow in the same manner. They all produce blooms in the same manner and produce keikis in the same manner. So to start with, during the growth period, that is during the summer season, these Dendrobium orchids need ample amount of water. They should be watered daily and properly. They need heavy amount of water. Then comes light. These Dendrobium orchids are species orchids. They can tolerate direct sunlight, though it is advisable to grow them in a light shade, very bright shade. Otherwise, they are not going to bloom in the next season. Talking about humidity, these orchids need high amount of humidity, about 70 to 80%, and also more than that. So in drier days when there is less rain and you are not able to water them, then put a humidity tray below these orchids so that humidity is provided. These are species Dendrobium orchids and hence no need of fertilizer. If you cannot resist yourself from applying fertilizer, you can use a general purpose fertilizer for growth, and towards the end of winter you can apply a bloom booster, though these orchids do not need fertilizer. So that was all about, in brief, about all these 4 Dendrobium species and hybrid orchids. They are very easy to grow. Just one thing that you need to keep in mind is the winter rest that you have to provide to these 4 orchids. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a like and do subscribe to my channel. Happy growing orchids. Thank you for watching.